Yo, and what's up? We got insane news today. Yes, more and better news than the previous time. Because previous time it was a very mixed bag. Gaijin announced a lot, but not necessarily the best. But now, everything is fine. First of all, we start with the least exciting part, the mini event. And that in itself is also quite fine. You get a mini event where you have to do very easy tasks. I can't remember the tasks ever being so easy, so yeah, this is quite good. And since it's running parallel to the still ongoing, well, big main event, you basically just play your normal event or you just play whatever, and you automatically are gonna get these tasks. So yeah, very easy, destroying vehicles, getting kills with vehicles, and completing 4 battles for 2 days. Very easy. Yeah, so this is quite fine. You don't get anything special. You just get a bunch of silver and appearance change orders and a French pilot port, which it looks quite cool. So yeah, now the main prize is a Yak tree with a fancy skin flown by a French pilot who I guess speaks French too. Now looking, what is a Yak tree K? What is a Yak tree? This is not Yak 9. No, this is Yak tree. It's a straight up pure fighter at BR3 who has very good maneuverability, very good speed, but the offensive power is very weak. It literally can just shred a plane once or twice and that's it. And it doesn't have too much armor. So overall the plane isn't really that good. Let's put it this way, there's a reason why basically everyone plays the P40E instead as a fighter from BR2. It's much slower, has worse maneuverability, but comes with better offensive machine guns and much better bombing. So, but still, if you're new to playing Soviets, it's not bad to just get a plane for free. So yeah, this is quite fine. Also, the description is not right. According to many characteristics, this aircraft is considered the best piston fighter in the Second World War. The statement is absolutely wrong. First of all, the P-51 Mustang is considered the best of World War II overall. Rightfully so. Then the Hurricanes or Spitfires, depending on which version you look. Then the German Focke-Wulf 190s. And then some other planes. No one even mentions the Yak 3. Historically speaking, the Yak 3 was a low-altitude, fast response fighter that quickly just was shredding enemy Stukas. Well, guess what? It's not too hard to shred an enemy Stuka. Yeah? It's not too hard, because if the Stukas were undefended, yeah, the Yak 3 could perform well, but if the Stukas had escorts themselves in form of BF-109, then the Yak 3s didn't do anything. So, yeah, this description is a bit ridiculous, because, okay. Well, so that's the event. That's nothing too big, but also nothing bad, so fine. Then, there's a spoiler that's not mentioned here, but I guess it will be released tomorrow, so I'm gonna make a dedicated video on that. The upcoming special premium squads for the big update seem to be a Japanese machine gunner squad and with something that looks like a BR3 weapon, and a Soviet partisan squad with a suppressed PPSH. Yes, for those remembering, over 6 months ago, roughly, yeah, a bit over 6 months ago, Gaijin for the Wild Map Advent promised to add the silenced PPSH for BR5, and then a bunch of loser Kumas on the internet complained and whined, and then Gaijin removed it. And we literally, for the first time I ever saw in this game, an object that was promised to be added to the game was simply not added. And woohoo, now literally the most fun weapon of the whole update, and the update was very empty overall, was simply not added. But, well, the Germans received the silenced weapon in form of the silenced STG. The Americans received the silenced Thompson, but the Soviets didn't do anything. But now the new squad, the new premium squad for the update is gonna be a Soviet BR5 partisan squad with the silenced STG. Now, obviously, this is parallel to the German silenced STG squad, though Science STG overall stronger than in Science PPSH, because the PPSH has just very high damage drop-off, whereas this thing doesn't. So, yeah. So, here's the thing. People, all the Kumas who were whining and bitching about, oh no, don't add the Silence PPSH for stupid reasons, yeah, congratulations. Now, instead of everyone getting something for free, very few people get it. And the biggest problem is, and this is going to be relevant for the actual update weapons that are going to be added to the tech tree in a few seconds. The biggest problem is that, well, people who think, oh yeah, these rare weapons, they were so rare, so they should be rare, so they should only be locked away behind premium and event stuff. Well, first of all, you're excluding the majority of the player base from having them, which is an absolute low-life dick move and an absolute loser attitude. And secondly, I've heard many people over the last month say that they never see the squad being played. I also constantly forget half the squad. I put it on my last slot here. Because, guess what? The other squads, the machine gunners are better for historical accuracy and immersion. Well, STG, well, normal sorter squad is stronger. And if you're playing against too many sweats, then you basically have to play a rifleman squad. And if you want to have a fun squad, well, how about a mortar squad? So there's barely any room left for partisans. So the fact that this science PPSH is locked away just means that it will be barely available in the game. So yeah, that was not good, but yeah, okay, whatever. Now, looking at the official editions with the upcoming update called Far Eastern Front Update. Well, it's so far away, it's literally next to Kamchatka or Vladivostok or whatever. Yep, it's the Manchuria campaign, for those who are still doubting. And it's gonna be focused on Japanese versus Soviets, with a new set of maps. I hope multiple maps, not just one map. Gaijin, come on, you literally didn't do anything this year. I hope it's better be two completely separate maps. Yeah. And obviously the issue is that the Japanese are very underpowered currently. So they need multiple adjustments. I already talked about that in detail in yesterday's stream and in the previous video. So yeah, the Japanese needs new stuff, and the Japanese need a bunch of down tierings. Now, are we going to get that? Down tierings are not mentioned here, they will be mentioned later. So it's just the new additions. First of all, the Soviets get BR1 rifle. Alright. Yep, that's something no one expected or asked for. Literally a 19th century based Chinese produced, I guess the Chinese produced it under German blueprints. Yeah, and the Soviets are using it. Now the question is, first of all, if this was produced in the Manchukuo region, the Japanese should definitely have more of these than the Soviets. So that's already a bit of historically confusing, though it's cool that they have this emblem here. And secondly, yeah, I mean, this is just basically a non-addition. Like, no one cares about it. Also, why would anyone play this over the Mosenst for historical immersion? So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't hurt to have more weapons, but this would be much better off as a random event weapon or event squad weapon than a tech tree weapon. The tech tree can have much more interesting stuff than this. So yeah, this is quite a fail. Okay, next. Germany gets two things. Don't be confused. Gaijin once again forgot to translate from Russian to German. That's why you don't have added to English. So you don't have USA, you have SSR. Yes. Alright, so Germany gets... Now this is very... I don't think anyone had it on his bingo card. The Key 7 machine gun that the Japanese currently have. And the Germans get it too. Tada! This is basically a Browning with worse sights, but 25 rounds. So this is, once you get used to the sights, a better Browning. Personally, the sights of the Brownings are so good. They're a significant part of how good that weapon is. But yeah, this weapon is just overall very strong. It is very... I mean, on longer ranges, the sights being worse matters. On short ranges, though, it doesn't matter. So yeah, overall, this weapon is very good. And the Germans are going to get it too. Well, what do I think about that? Because this is quite controversial. It's literally Germans getting it based on the Italians using them. Yeah, I mean, they were used extremely rarely in the German army. Yeah, extremely rarely. I wouldn't be surprised if Germany had more of the Polish version of the Browning than this, but yeah, whatever. Is it good or bad overall? I personally don't care. I don't have an opinion on that. So you write your opinion on that in the comments. It's going to be very interesting. Now here's my personal take. It's just an objective take, not a subjective one. The downside of adding this to Germany is that it just dilutes historical authenticity. Because now, yeah, if this is overall more useful than an MG34. Because the MG34 is very slow and cumbersome, but has more rounds. Yeah, though the Kia 7 is literally just insanely fast sprinting weapon. It's basically like an assault rifle that you can play on BR3. Literally assault rifle stats, even higher damage. So yeah, people will play this over the MG34. Now this is the downside. What's the upside? The upside is, theoretically speaking, you increase historical authenticity because the game offers more weapons for everyone to choose what he can play. Because if you want to roleplay some unit that was equipped with Italian random leftovers, well, then you can do that in Enlisted, you can't do that in other games, so that is an advantage. Also, if you want to go for pure power gaming, using this as a primary and the MG34 as a secondary is going to be insanely strong. You're going to have a very strong assault rifle type weapon to run around and quick aim with. And if you're stationary, you just whip out the MG44 and you have 50 bullets to spray. So yeah, keep in mind, machine guns are going to get a buff. With this update, when you lie down, you don't need to mount the weapon anymore. Simply lying down on the ground and shooting will divide your recoil by 2.5. Yeah, so you're gonna lose, it's like minus 60 or 65% or whatever recoil reduction, which is very, very good. So yeah, machine guns are gonna get better and better and better, rightfully so. So yeah, I would personally say it's a slight advantage. It's definitely not a bad decision to have this. It's overall, I would say it's fine. It's that you could have added something else, though. It's fine overall. Now, what about the Ferdinand, though? Well, the famous Kursk big booty slapper that was quickly rushed over to be used there for the first time, I think. And what is this thing famous for? It was one of the first, possibly the first widespread use of the long 88 cannon. And it featured a very strong, at least in the front, armored chassis with up to 200mm armor. Keep in mind the rest though isn't too strong, and the sides and the back is quite weak, and the top also is quite weak. So yeah, it's easily strafed, it's easily bombed. And as in real life, since this one doesn't have a machine gun, I'm quite sure, in real life these were famous for being oftentimes taken out by random Soviet infantry that got close and started PTRSing, yes, the BR1 weapon, PTRSing this thing, or just using explosives and other stuff. So this is very weak against infantry, very weak against planes, and for men of culture, weak against mortars. Yes, the Soviets also have mortars, and they're not weaker than the German ones, so you're gonna feel the pain. So yeah, unless someone plays a Yak 3 against you, yeah, as long as someone plays a proper plane, you're dead. So yeah, this thing is not that strong. Now, here's the good part. This was long awaited, people love it, and since it was a very famous aspect of the Battle of Kursk, cool. Some might say it's foreshadowing, there might be a Kursk map next year, might be interesting, I don't know. But the thing that some Kumas are complaining and whining about is, oh, why is it BR4? Why isn't it BR5? Because, first of all, on BR5 this is straight up unplayable. For those who didn't notice it, this thing doesn't have a turret. It's a fixed superstructure, and you don't have a machine gun. So you literally, all you have is the King Tiger cannon with its very lackluster and nerfed HE shells, and of course AP shells against tanks. So yeah, you're gonna be good against enemy tanks. Enemy tanks won't be able to shoot you back effectively. But if you want to spray infantry, you will need to hit perfect angles, which is gonna be hard. If enemies are close to you, you're instantly dead. So yeah, this is a perfect fit for BR4. Perfect fit for BR4. Let me see, was the Jagdpanther already downranked to BR4? I gave up any expectation of logic. Yeah, Jagdpanther wasn't down tiered. I expect the Ferdinand to be more effective, because this is completely unplayable on BR5. It looks very cool, very chunky boy, but there's absolutely zero reason to play this above any other proper tank. Especially if you look at the weak-ass top that gets easily penetrated by any plane. So yeah, placing this in BR4 is perfect. Absolutely perfect. This is going to be interesting to actually play against and with. So yeah, this is a smart decision by Gaijin. Unless Gaijin goes full retard again and starts listening to whiners. The same type of whiners who are responsible for us not having the PPSH silence in the tech tree, but locked away behind the paywall. Yeah. And these are the same people who then complain why our premium squads shouldn't be too strong, because pay to win. Yeah, motherfucker, then why the fuck are these same idiots constantly ruining the game by demanding stuff to be locked away behind paywall? And then, as Gaijin would say SHR, or as Burgers would say America gets some cool stuff. First of all, a design philosophy I highly appreciate. A Browning comes with a buff and a nerf. So better than more interesting than the normal Browning, which is just languishing at BR5. This is originally it was the only machine gun enlisted with 100 rounds, but then every nation got one basically, except for Japan. So it became the weakest at BR5 because it's just very slow. But it has basically no recoil, so this is good. And now it gets down tiered with quite a cool front design to BR4. What's the downside? You cannot shoot it without being mounted or just downed. Let me see. Yeah, from a prone position or using the bipod. Alright, good. This is intelligent game design. By the way, I've been speaking about it since almost 1.5 years now. Finally, Gaijin starts implementing that. It just literally what every other game company discovered 20 years ago, that if you're running out of ideas, but preferably even before that, instead of just power creeping the game into the trash bin, just do ups and downs. Yeah, take something, give it buffs and give it nerfs. Tada, you have a completely new, interesting to play profile of a weapon. And this is exactly that. It's very strong for BR4, definitely stronger than anything America would get, but it's harder to use. So yeah, actually the definition of a skill weapon. Gives you power, but only if you use it effectively. So this is going to be very interesting. Also a perfect defensive weapon. Perfect defensive weapon. Then the Americans get a attacker in BR5. I assume it comes with an attacker tree pilot because there's currently none. I think Americans don't have a fighter tree. Attacker tree. So yep, this is quite good. What is this? Well, it's basically a medium. It's a mix between a medium and heavy bomber because it has 7 frontal HMGs. So you're shredding everything to death on the ground and in the sky. And it has 6 it has 6 frontal. Wow, okay, makes sense. It's 6, not 7. And it has 7 defensive machine guns spread around the whole body. So yep, you're gonna have a lot of pilots defending you, and you have a lot of shredding power in the front while approaching your target. And once you reach your target, you just drop your 6 heavy bombs, your 6 250 kilogram bombs. Woohoo! Very strong, very good. Is it better than P47? I would still know than the P47, because P47 still, it can also be used like a fighter, and it's overall easier to aim with. But yeah, this thing is definitely gonna be a good addition. This good second attacker plane if you want to play one. And since I assume this is gonna be in another pilot slot, you can literally play both planes next to each other without any issues. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting. and it doesn't say how many pilots there are here. But if it has 7 defensive machine guns, I assume this could have 3 or 4 pilots, maybe even 5. If this thing has 5 pilots, you're gonna have your 3 paratrooper squad in the tech tree. So this would be insanely good. Always watch out for planes who have 4 or 5 pilots, because this is basically a free paratrooper squad with bombs attached to it, so very good. Then, the biggest question in the game, the biggest elephant or Ferdinand in the room, what does Japan get? Because obviously Japan needs to get stuff. Well, it gets the premium squad that will likely be announced tomorrow. I don't think next week, tomorrow would make more sense. And it gets a BR5 assault rifle. This thing literally looks like the BR2 SMG. It looks exactly like the BR2. I don't even bother learning the names, they're all confusing. Yep, it looks like exactly like this thing. This is Type 2 SMG. Oh, it got uptiered to BR3. Of course. Of course, Gaijin uptiered it. Well, this might be the weapon that suffered the most changes. I remember it was added to the game, it was unplayably bad. Then it received 3 or 4 buffs over the course of multiple years. Then it received another buff a few months ago. And then it got nerfed. Now because it got uptiered to BR3. So, yeah, this is... Whenever Gaijin claims to be able to balance things and say, oh no, we know it better, this should be like that. Yeah, no, Gaijin, you don't know. You just fuck around and find out. And then wonder why people are... the reasonable people are not happy with you. It looks exactly like that. I guess the basic is the same, but it counts as an assault rifle. And it... well, obviously if it counts as an assault rifle, it will have high damage. It will have, I guess, 25 rounds. Or 30 maybe. And it says it has an insanely high fire rate. Okay, so this is 6.5 millimeters. And this is 8 millimeters. Yeah, it's a different caliber. Yeah. It looks like this new gun has only 25 rounds. Could be 30. Yeah, it could be the angle. Yeah, I'm not sure, 25 to 30, but yeah, this is gonna be an assault rifle of the highest fire rate. Is it good? Well, it's needed because Japan doesn't have anything. This thing is so bad, I haven't seen it a single time in my whole life. Never ever did I... Well, maybe, obviously, statistically speaking, there might have been someone, but I can't remember ever someone using this thing. Never. It's just so ass. Weapons without proper sights just suck. Just suck. You can play them in Counter-Strike, yes, but not in games with constant long-range engagement. So, this is just ass. And Tokyo Arsenal is literally BR4, and that's it. So the Japanese needed by the way, this was, I said it right last year when it came out, this is a complete waste of a weapon. Complete waste of a weapon, no one's gonna play it. It's just so annoying to use that everyone's gonna be unhappy, so... Yeah, but yeah, this new assault rifle is very much needed, so the Japanese get a proper assault rifle on BR5. Now, the interesting question is, can it compete with the Fedorov? The fun part is, the Fedorov is the strongest stage 3 weapon in the game, because it's very strong, and it has additional buffs that no other similar weapon has. So it's ridiculously overbuffed. This thing could, theoretically, also get the same treatment of just having ass-pulled buffs out of nowhere that make it ridiculously strong, just to keep parity with the Soviets. Let's see, we're gonna find out. It wouldn't hurt, honestly, because Japan is quite isolated. So, it will be less isolated because now it's gonna have 2 enemies, but it was the most isolated nation in the game. Together with the Soviets, but the Soviets had many campaigns. So, giving them something very strong, yeah, the Japanese are still much weaker than the Soviets and the Americans overall. So giving them a very overpowered BR5 assault rifle wouldn't be too much of an issue, I would say. And then a Shito late, a BR4 tank, well, as usual, well, speaking out of experience, basically all the Japanese tanks are ass, except for the Hori. Yep, so, and all of the other tanks that allegedly caused more balance of the Japanese against their enemies, it was always fail. Like Shino 2, Shiri, well, maybe the Shino 2 is good, I don't remember play. Yeah, no. Nah. This armor on BR4, forget about it. This armor and cannon on BR4, forget about it. Once again, this is BR3. These are Soviet BR3 stats, dudes. These are not BR4 stats. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't have high hopes for this tank to be good because I already expect the same old story of 75mm armor on BR4. Unless this cannon is insanely overpowered, unless it has insane penetration and very good HE, I don't think this is gonna be good. But yeah. Now, so what's to do for Gaijin? Well, down tier multiple of these tanks to lower tiers, and down tier multiple planes, and change all of those fighters, change half of them into attackers. So there's actually some some proper attacking potential. And no, 2 100kg bombs on BR4 are not proper attacking potential, not even with these good stats. So yeah, this is what Gaijin needs to do, this is what we expect. Let me know what you expect in person and what you think about this update and those, well, these new additions. I guess it's going to be quite mixed, so it's going to be an interesting discussion in the comments below. And of course, like the video and share it with others so they're up to date and know what to expect. And of course, subscribe to not miss out on the other news, meaning the actual new map, then lots of balance changes, maybe a new mechanic. We didn't get a single new mechanic this year, and usually you always get a new mechanic, at least in December on Christmas. And also to not miss out on other cool stuff. So, until soon, goodbye.